Kiefer poet, of course. Our final reader tonight is Desiree Morales. Desiree is an educator, poet, and activist from Southern California, where she earned her BA in creative writing and linguistics from Pitzer College. Since coming to Austin in 2010, she's created and led programs that have served nearly 10,000 low-income children in Travis County. She currently oversees a pilot project in Austin ISD offering entrepreneurial learning opportunities to students in South Austin and participates in the Cultural Proficiency and Inclusiveness Initiative. Her work has appeared in What Rough Beast, Truck, I-35 Creative Corridor, and Conflict of Interest. Has yet to meet a coconut non-dairy ice cream she doesn't like. The chocolate is pretty great. Desiree.
Hi guys. Thank you, everyone, all the people you think, for being here, for inviting me, for being Melbourne. It's really wonderful to read with Kimberly. I didn't realize you were leaving. Kimberly and I first met 7 years ago in Wa Win's workshop in her home, and that living room was my entry point to sort of the Austin literary family. So I'm sad to see you go, but happy to be part of seeing you off tonight. Anthropocene. I remember it very specifically as it's happening, so I'll be able to tell someone how astonishing it was. Beauty berries, neon purple, the shaded trail I walk, the year summer was lethal. I mean the year heat almost killed me. The year it seemed like everyone good was dying. The year earthquakes were everywhere now. The year North Dakota locked people like you in dog kennels and wrote numbers on their bodies to identify numbered bodies, even though people like you have names. The year of lemons, so gold like daylight, I purchased them extravagantly, showed them affection, wondered how long we would have lemons like that. The year Haiti flooded. The year we were horrified. The year we were angry that others were not horrified. The year we sang Redemption Song at the Capitol, at Black Lives Matter, a few yards from men fondling their semi-automatic weapons. The year of the rain room. The year I knew I'd have to fight for drinking water someday. I mean the year we fought for drinking water. The year I came home from drinking wine with my beautiful friends, saw the news, and sank to the floor sobbing. I am remembering very specifically as it happens, which is called bearing witness, which is called a kind of hubris, believing there will be someone to tell. I brought a couple pretty poems because I also brought angry poems, and I hope that's a consolation for yelling at you a little bit. Love is a history lesson. A photo of you in a tree with a boy. I lit candles in your hat. In the woods, you were Van Gogh, so he could paint in the dark. There was a party. You lived in bricks. You were a fever. It wasn't earthquake safe. You spoke no other languages. You were several arrows. You read my horoscope, Aquarius. In a strange town, we had our own holidays. There were pilgrims and coyotes, a mountain full of canyons. It was a great place to grow up. Almost no one ever had to grow up there. The wild places were so close. So where did you go with your hands fixing glass when summer struck? Why in your book did you show me my name written on every page? It was susurrant work, counting years in the cut. You and your smirk, the color of drought and ready to spark. Super bloom. I'm going to ask the desert for a super bloom, and the big storms to make it so. It's my own fault, not being enthralled. I've been lying around far from wild places. Today, a songbook lists everything that has rhythm, mood, heart. Here is where you must draw a songbird, model cursive for children. I tell everyone about swimming past the breakwater. I'm afraid it's the last time. The desert says you have to want it real bad, but I never wrote the poem about the girl who receives gifts from crows. And I'm concerned about lying low under dust. Waking up is sort of violent if you think about it, don't you? I asked the desert to make everything ready, but I didn't really want it anyway. It just made me laugh. Like that time you said, if you can take care of this, I've got everything else. And we both laughed. Because it sounded like you meant everything, our whole lives, the universe, etc. And if I'm being honest, I wouldn't put it past you. I've been thinking a lot about Calpurnia in Julius Caesar, well, Julius Caesar's wife, but specifically in the Shakespeare play Julius Caesar, because if you're not freshly familiar with it, you know, it's obviously about his assassination, or it culminates in his assassination. And leading up to that, she starts observing all of these omens and having these terrible nightmares, and she's like, maybe don't go to the Senate today, because they're legit gonna murder you. And everyone's attitude is sort of like, quiet woman, you sound crazy. And then, you know, they murder him. And the history comes from Plutarch, who says that what happened next is she just kind of gave all of his official papers to whomever and skipped town. She's like, I'm done. But I think about her a lot because of what it feels like to see something coming and the sort of horror of feeling unsure if everyone around you really understands that it's coming. So I use her voice a little bit in this poem. Calpurnia in Tejas. 2,000 children in the tented desert. By then you're past tense. Hysterical is a word that sometimes gets used here. Listen. I read about minority stress, and frankly, they should call them micro-murders. I tell my heart to behave. Amygdala sharpens a knife. Listen, there are already mass graves in Tejas, unearthed years before this panic. By the time it's the truth is already ashes in your mouth. I tell my heart, but you can't force the heart. Amygdala on a short leash. How long before, listen, what you fear will happen has already happened. I didn't want to be right, but here we are. Patron saint of what? A paper bag, a seed seen like, canta y no llores, but I have no cielito, diminutive of nothing. What's the past tense of I don't even remember anymore? If your mouth were made of sugar. Canta, cantamos, cantando. This poem is called The Last Summer because it's about experiencing the wildfires the last summer I lived in California. But as I was reading it to bring tonight, I was like, I hope this isn't the last summer of American democracy. So relevant depending on how you interpret the last summer. Ask me a question while I'm still alive. Everywhere is on fire. We are strange from breathing ash. Along the burning tree line, strung, scrub oak, poison oak, live oak, smoldering. The heirlooms were beautiful that year, our glowing plant hearts. I have one more poem, but I don't have a book out yet, so I don't have that to show, but instead I'm going to ask you for something else. I'm going to ask you to get out your phones and pull up a web browser. And I want you to go to vote.org, vote.org. I just want you to pull that up, and then you can put your phone away. So next time you're alone with your phone, I want you to go back to that. And if you're already registered to vote, I want you to click whatever the button is called to confirm that you're still registered and that all of your information is correct, your name is right, your address is right, whatever. If you're not registered to vote, follow the link that registers you to vote. If your home address isn't here, that website will also help you figure out how to vote, how to get your absentee ballot sent here if you're still registered in a previous home. And then the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is, if you liked my work and you would have bought my book, I'm going to ask you to make a donation to vote.org in the amount that you would have spent on a book if I had one. They registered their millionth voter this year, and they're doing incredible work to leverage technology to get out the vote and give more people access to this information. A hopeful data point, I think, is that less than 16% of voters, registered voters, are registered as Republicans. There's a reason that the right strategy is voter suppression. It's because there are more of us. So I think we have the most important election of our lifetimes coming up, and I just beg you to vote in it and make sure that people around you vote in it too. This last poem is called Not Big Enough. It's about a friend of mine who died last year, which I know sounds sad, but really he was in his 70s and he died in his sleep surrounded by his dogs. So like, may we all, right? So this is a poem about losing a lovely person. Not Big Enough, for John Fott. I heard your news and thought of late drinks with you and Carmen, surrounded by our dogs. How you admitted to buying special dog food for the raccoons that visit your yard. How many lovely people are mostly friends with animals, even wild ones? How you spent years in the jungle recording a language we were losing so the rest of the world could have it. Some men were throwing a ball around, and you learned it had a different name stationary than when it was spinning in the air. The memory so bright it lit up your face years later, your hand rotating against the sunset to show me. I'm not sad, just greedy. Something, maybe me, is the wrong size for all this beauty. Last night was humid in Austin, Texas. I watched some favorite artists build and topple a mountainscape. Then we said sweet things to each other, and someone made up a song to remind us where we were going, to drink beer and laugh around a fire. When I heard your news this morning, I took my hair down, and it smelled like campfire, so I didn't wash it. Every time I turned to look at something, this smoke